In the beginning, man created the wheel. And from that invention came other great inventions, particularly dice. Lots of dice. Then there were polyhedral dice. And then from polyhedral dice, there were great quests, adventures, monsters. And then came artichoke dip. No. Artichoke dip. No. Artichoke dip. Yes.
Hello YouTube, Artichoke Dip here. I'm back. First thing I want to say is thank you for all the subscribers. It's absolutely wonderful that this many people have supported me. To be honest with you, when I first made these videos, I wasn't sure whether people would engage with this or not. And to my surprise, quite a few have. I've read all your comments. I've recently been busy. It's the reason why I haven't made any videos recently. I do run another YouTube channel called Aurora Metal. I also play music, and I've been doing videos. As a matter of fact, I started that channel before Artichoke Dip. And I've recently had one of my music tracks published that's now on iTunes. So I've had a lot going on with that. And obviously, I got work, family, and other things going on. And it so happened that tonight I had a open slot to do a video. So, reading your comments, I've seen a lot of people that have been out of it for a while, looking to get back into gaming, and this is attractive to them, the solo RPG experience. Some people had questions about Mythic. How do you use Mythic? When do you use Mythic? So on and so forth. So I want to cover, let's talk about Mythic first. What is Mythic? Mythic to your solo RPG should be a tool. It should be one of your tools in your toolbox that you pull out. That's it. You shouldn't depend on it to the point of where you're just rolling dice all the time. It's going to get boring. And if you do pick up Mythic, whether you buy the book like me or you download it for free online, the one thing that I suggest that you do is you read the book. You read through it and really comprehend the way that they wrote the game system for their system. Reason why I say this is once you understand how they do it for their game system, it's going to be very easy for you at that point to take the parts that you want to detail it to your solo RPG. And one of the things that I utilize in here is the fate chart. And I'm going to get to the fate chart and past it. Show you. Haha. Okay, so in Mythic, and this is for my solo RPG, so after reading Mythic, you adapt it to the way that's for you, but this is me, and I'm going to show you why here in a minute. Okay, so in here we got the fate chart, and if you look at the bottom, you'll notice it says difficulty rank / chaos. We have a series of percentage numbers, and we have columns, both sides, which are answers to questions. How I use it, and I'm going to use this example. So I'm doing a dungeon crawl, and I got a meathead fighter. He's good with a sword, but not much upstairs. So he runs across a potion bottle and pops the cork to look inside, sniff. Okay, well, obviously he has no way to detect magic, and he's not that bright, so now I'm going to use the Mythic using the chaos factor. I'm doing a dungeon crawl, so I'm going to have a chaos factor of 3 or 4. And I'm going to explain the chaos factor to you here in a minute. And then I'm going to roll a percentage die. Was it magical? Yep. Is he maimed by what was in the bottle? Yep. And that's how I use it. The chaos factor, how I use the chaos factor, is the lower the number, the higher the threat. The higher the number, the lower the threat. So, good example, Fellowship of the Ring, where Gandalf confronted the Barlog on the long stone bridge there. That would be a chaos factor of 1. the poo-poo has hit the fan. Versus your character hanging out in a tavern, drinking an ale. Well, I would say that'd be a chaos factor 10. That's me. So, with that said, the one thing I want to really emphasize to you is this is a tool, and it's how you want to use it. Now, of course, it's your solo RPG, and you make it the way that you want to make it. And I can't emphasize that enough. This is a solo experience. This is all about you having fun, and enjoying the game systems that you bought money to play, to where you can honestly enjoy them when you want to enjoy them and you're not on a schedule. Now, one of the things that I have done and is I sat down, and I'm going to get to this binder right here, and I have a couple of these. I have one that I keep nothing but the current adventure I'm working on right now, and I have all my notes, the scene, what happened in that particular scene of the adventure, what I encountered, treasure I found, NPCs I found, so on and so forth. What I like about it is, just like, for example, I've been busy with other things, and I really haven't had a lot of time lately, I can go right back to that, open it up, go right to the last scene, read it, right back in. But I'm going to show you, this is my table, and I've made all of these tables for me, utilizing a deck of playing cards, standard playing cards. And I'm going to show you right here, these are populations, and if you can see how, get back here, how I wrote these out. I got my populations, I got my ace, 1, 2, 3, 4, all the way down, jack, queen, queen, blah, 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 blah. And I'm going to use a 3 for an example. It's a small city, and I have an X in there, which means it has services and it has NPCs, which means what I mean by services is they have a blacksmith there, arrowsmith there, whatever you need as far as weapons, armor. And as I continue on, I get down to 8. I got a gnome village. You never know. Well, I also they offer services, and they get NPCs. And continuing down, when I get into the queen, right here, I have a merchant caravan. And the merchant caravan also offers services, and there's also NPCs with that. Now, I get down to the king, and it says, see chart below. As you can see down here. Now, when I get into my chart, I have X. X represents the services. Now, depending on the suit that I drew, so I'm going to use diamonds here as an example. If I drew a 3 of diamonds, I will have entered a small city, and inside of that city, the services that they offer will be magical supplies, services, and NPCs. Now, if it was spades, it would have been healers, healing supplies, and NPCs. If it was clubs, it would have been strictly food, livestock, NPCs. And if it was hearts, it would have been weapons, armor, armorsmiths, arrowsmiths, and NPCs. So that right there is how I utilize with my solo RPGs to keep the game moving smoothly. Those are my charts, and I made them myself. And it's one thing that you're going to want to do. If you rely heavily on just this fate chart alone, you're going to get bored out of your mind very quickly. But with this, as you're playing, your characters have just come out of a long stretch of wilderness and to a population. Prime example, draw the card. Boom. Oh, cool. Well, looky here. We're in need of some healing potions. And they have magical supplies there. Chances are we're going to find healing potions in there. With that, to get a little bit more in depth, and I do this with my tables, you you do your tables the way that suit your gaming. I also have population activity. Same thing. Set of deck of cards. And as I go through there, I mean, I have a festival of ale. I have punishing outlaws, a wedding, a funeral, a merchant caravans returning to resupply. Um, the city's preparing for war with another local community around. It's a holiday festival. I mean, and so on and so forth. And these are things that I put in to keep my game going and keep it more interesting. Okay, one of the things I would like to talk about now is I've seen in some of the comments, some people have been out of this for a while and they're looking to get back into it, and maybe they've sold their, old gaming books or lost them or what have you. Life happens, right? So when I went to the Comic Con in the late spring, that would have been in May. One of the things I picked up, and before I get into this, I'm just gonna say I am not endorsing any company here, nothing like that. These are things that I found to be pretty fun, and I just want to share with you guys. This is called the Temple of Elemental Evil. This is a board game, and I also picked up this one recently, which I also love too, which is Castle Ravenloft. Cool thing about them, right from the rip when you open them up, the games can be played solo, 1 to 5 players. Now you're probably asking yourself, why am I telling you about this? Well, if you go and buy miniatures and you get a Wizards of the Coast licensed product, you're going to look to spend 20 to 30 bucks for miniatures. So you got 30 bucks right there. So now if you want to make terrains for your tabletop, play your game, you buy supplies depending on how you do it, you're still going to wind up around 25, 30 bucks. Now you're into it for about 60 bucks. These will run you about 50, 60 bucks. When you open them up, you get a large amount of miniatures. And I'm going to show you what I'm talking about here. I've spent some time and I painted mine up. I didn't like the bland colors they were. There's a dragon, the Etten. The guy was purple, and just a purple Etten didn't look right. And a whole score, of different miniatures here you can use for encounters. The other cool thing that comes with it is you also get these terrain tiles, and I'm going to show you. These terrain tiles hook together like this, very simple. I'm sure you've seen them before if you watched other gaming videos, to create a dungeon. Now, depending on how you want to play your dungeon, if you're doing a dungeon crawl and you want it to be totally randomized, to be surprised, you can get a stack of these, turn them over, and as you take them out and build the dungeon. Or you can plan it out on a piece of, grid paper and build it. But if you think about it, you get this great terrain if you want to do dungeon crawls. Miniatures, there's also encounter cards, so if you don't want to spend the time making different tables like I have, you could always use the terrain cards in this. So that's one option I want to just point out to you that you may want to look at. Gives you miniatures, gives you terrain, gets you started. And like as I told you, Basic Fantasy and Mythic are both free downloads off of RPG now. So, you figure you invest in that, you get those. Hey. So, moving on, another thing that I did pick up, I talked about in another video, was this one, Adventures in Middle Earth Player's Guide. Now, this is written for 5th. To my surprise, I did a couple of solo RPGs with it, and I used 3rd edition, and it worked very well. And I was very, very surprised, because normally 3rd edition is kind of clunky solo, but the way that this plays is a very story detail orientated game system worked out very well. I was very happy with it. I had a lot of fun with it. And I'm going to have a lot more fun with it in the future as well. Now, if solo RPG, you want a rich story environment, and you like Middle Earth, I highly suggest you pick this up. And it's got a wealth of information. The art in here is spectacular. I mean, the information, character creation is very simple, and it adapts very, very easily to any of the newer editions of D&D, 3rd, 4th, 5th, all of them. Very simple, works very well, very easy to play a solo RPG with. So if you're looking for that rich storytelling type of RPG, you may want to check that out. You may just like that. But now, what if you're on the other side of the spectrum? You want more of, I want to kick the door in, and I want to kill everything in the room. Something I'm going to bring up to you that you may want to look into is this one right here. This book is out of print. This is Palladium. They now have the 2nd edition, which you can pick up now. You can still find this. I mean, the market's still flooded with these. This came out around the same time D&D did. And I know some people may disagree with me on this. D&D was much more popular than Palladium. And more people that I have talked to that remember basic D&D, when I say, hey, what about Palladium? I'm going to say good 85% of them are what's Palladium. So that's just my experience. And I may be wrong. I mean, other parts of the country, Palladium may have been bigger than D&D for all I know. But let's get a little bit into Palladium and explain that. So you're the type of person, you want to kick the door in and just kind of adventure you want to run. With the Palladium system, how the combat system is you roll a 20-sider. Anything over a 4, you hit. Now at this point, you're probably saying, well, wait a minute, armor class. Now, how the game mechanic works with Palladium, you roll a 20-sider. And as I said, anything above a 4 hits. Now, you have the option, or I should say your opponent has the option, to dodge or parry the attack. And how you have to pick and choose on this is because your armor has what's called SDC, which is structural damage capacity. Which, like hit points, every time damage is dealt, if your armor takes it, your structural damage capacity begins to deplete, which gives you very little protection. So you can only get hit so many times and your armor's useless, and at that point you're taking all the damage and your health is going to deplete quickly. So you really have to utilize how to think about dodging, parrying, how it all works. So if you like that style of play, you may want to check out Palladium. Now, I'm not saying you have to play the whole system Palladium. If you have older versions of D&D you like, you may like to thumb through this and take some of the battle mechanics out of this and integrate them into your solo RPG, because it's your solo RPG, to make the battle sequences longer and more enjoyable, and to give your battle sequences much more dynamics to it, I guess is the word I'm looking for, to enrich your solo RPG experience. Now, the one thing I can't stress enough about solo RPGing, I mean, there are so many different role-playing systems out there, and what I mean is, go on Amazon, or better yet, go on nobleknights.com, and it's spelled with a K, nobleknights.com, okay? And you'll see their catalog goes from A to Z, and there are so many role-playing systems out there, it's mind-boggling. I mean, just mind-boggling. But the one thing I can say, you have to have fun with this. And you have to put a little bit of work into it to make it enjoyable and fun for you. That's why we spend money on this stuff, right? I mean, it's expensive. This is an expensive hobby. There's no doubt about it. the most important thing is you have to detail it to you and your experience. It's all about having fun, boys and girls. That's all it's about. And if you can't have fun with it, what's the point of spending the money? That's the point I'm getting at. Um, and I can't overemphasize enough how tickled pink I am at how many subscribers I have now. That is makes me very happy, very happy. I'm loving the comments. Keep the comments coming. I will try to answer your questions as they come in. If I don't get back with you right away, please don't be upset. I may have something else going on in my life. If you have children at home, I'm sure you understand what I'm talking about. So, any other questions about solo RPG? I'll be more than happy to answer them for you. If you get a chance, please check out my other channel, Aurora Metal. You don't have to. It has nothing to do with gaming. It's all music videos, and I've been very happy that I've actually had a track published, and that's a real feather in my cap for me. So anyway, Artichoke dip out. I hope you enjoy this video. Keep them subscriptions coming, keep those comments coming, and I will see you next time. Bye.